Hi Engineering Janta, I am Vaibhav Shukla and today I'll be answering all your queries through which you were regularly asking me when will the companies hire in 2025, what will be their timelines, all the doubts regarding that. Fine. I can understand your anxiety that the people who are in the final year who don't have any offers and are looking for jobs, I can understand your anxiety. Believe me, I have been in your shoes. मुझे मालूम है कैसा लगता है जब ऑफर नहीं होती, जब मिल जाती है एक ऑफर तब भी कैसा लगता है वो भी मैं जानता हूँ. And when you have multiple offers and have confusion, I have been through that as well. Don't worry. So you can trust me with that. I have seen enough failures. I have failed enough times that I can guide you to the right place, because after failing so long, I have also figured out the journey of success myself. I have translated the efforts into success and multiple offers as well. So I know the journey. And for that, placement calendar is one thing that is must while preparing. You must have it on your hands so that you can be proactive while applying and can adjust the skills, the resume, everything accordingly. Fine. So before I dive in deep in today's video, go ahead, follow us on these social media handles so that you never miss a hiring update, and today's top 3 comments will get Prep Insta Prime subscription for free, so do not miss out on that chance. Fine. And for those who do not get this free subscription, who are not that lucky, for you people, you will find a code Shukla10 in the YouTube description that will cater to some discounts so that you have a better financial deal while enrolling into Prime. Fine. I'll write this code here. This is the code Shukla10. Fine. You can use this code. Now, diving in deep, the first company is Goldman Sachs. Fine. Its expected CTC is 15 to 24 LPA. Generally, it hires between January to February and August to September. It hires twice a year generally. And its exam pattern is aptitude round. That is why I always stress on aptitude. बड़ी से बड़ी कंपनी aptitude round लेती है, ठीक है? So be very good in aptitude, be thorough in aptitude. Online test which involves generally coding questions, and then post this you generally have 2 to 3 questions to solve and you have to pass all the test cases. Once you clear this, you have interview schedule where you generally have 4 to 5 rounds depending upon the capability that you have. You might be very good in coding. They might feel that this person is a very good asset and we can utilize his skills. So you will simply be selected after 4 rounds. They might be doubtful. It might stretch up to 5-6 rounds. As simple as that. Fine. And after that HR round happens and then the negotiations, and then you can land up in this company. The second company in line is Uber. Uber is one of the high paying companies, but generally it is considered tough. It is not tough, it is generally tricky, and that is why people feel it is tough. So prepare well, you'll do better in these. 15 to 30 LPA is the package. February and March is a general hiring period of Uber, and its exam pattern involves online coding assessment. They straight away send you a coding link, and it is basically a test to do the programs. You do the programming, 2 to 3 questions, you solve them, you pass all the test cases, you have interview schedule. Here you generally have 6 to 8 rounds. Very few people have 8 rounds. A lot of you will generally have 6 rounds. 4 rounds generally don't happen in Uber. 6 to 8 rounds is a normal category which is nowadays going on and floating in market. Post this, HR negotiations happen. So the level keeps on rising, in which they test your DSA, they test your CS fundamentals, especially OOPS, OS, DBMS, CN, etc. They test you on these. Your skills are very important. Your projects are very important. Your problem solving is very important. And once you show your skills are good enough, they pay you very well, and then the HR negotiations happen. Fine, and the offer is rolled out. Then third is Infosys, one of the mass hiring companies, and it often gives you offer letters through various channels like Hack with Infi. Fine, this is Hack with Infi. Fine, not Infinity. And this is Infi TQ. So basically what happens in Infi TQ and Hack with Infi is you have a designed procedure. They descriptively put it on their websites whenever this happens, and you generally have a basic aptitude round, then coding rounds, then technical interviews, then HR rounds. Simple. Fine. And they generally hire between March and April, and 3.5 to 7 LPA is the package which they generally offer. Fine. Now, the profiles you generally have here, one is specialist programmer, which is the 7 LPA, fine, and the other one is the 3.5 LPA, which is a basic profile. Fine. Now, you go to VMware. VMware is a very good company. Let me tell you, its expected CTC is 10 to 20 LPA. It hires twice a year, in which May to June and November to December are 2 periods. They start from aptitude round. Once again, you can see aptitude is of paramount importance. Then online test. This involves sometimes tech MCQs plus coding. Okay. Sometimes coding alone is given, sometimes both are involved, so you have to prepare accordingly. You need to be ready for both. Fine. Then interview schedule happens, where generally 3 to 4 rounds happen, and then HR negotiations. Fine. So this is a very good company to work for. Then comes Dell Technologies, 8 to 18 LPA depending upon your skills and the number of years that you have spent in the industry. For example, if somebody is 6 to 12 months experienced, you might have a better chance of negotiating in Dell, but even the freshers sometimes land a very good package based on the skills and projects. Fine. So expected CTC is 8 to 18 LPA. May and October are 2 periods basically, twice a year this company hires. Aptitude round as usual happens. Then online test, which generally involves only coding. Very rarely tech MCQs are asked here, but there is a possibility. So I'm writing that you must be ready for tech MCQ as well. Then comes interview schedule, where 3 to 4 rounds happen, and post this HR rounds happen. Fine. The fitment rounds, where guesstimates, puzzles, resume negotiations. Fine. Where they try and push you on the low side of package, and if you're somebody who's great at skills, has a good resume filled with justified projects which can land you up a bigger package, then the negotiations turn in your favor. Fine. Then Flipkart, a very good company, a very high paying company to the freshers, 15 to 24 LPA, the general trend of Flipkart. Fine. For the CTC, June and July is the period where Flipkart hires. Its exam pattern generally involves aptitude round, then online test, which is coding intensive, and you generally have 2 to 3 problems to solve. All the test cases should pass. Once you do that, you have an interview schedule where generally 4 to 6 rounds happen. Usually everybody has to give 5 rounds. Some people are so good in problem solving that they just stop at 4 rounds and they get selected, or they get HR round. Fine. Some people are average, most of them, and then they are checked in 5 rounds, 6 rounds. Fine. So that is how things go in Flipkart. Then TCS, जिसे ये कंपनी नहीं पता ना भाई, believe me, you are living under a rock or you're not preparing for placements. Anybody who's preparing for placements, he knows TCS. Fine. 3.5 to 9 LPA is the general CTC band, because they offer 3 profiles: Ninja, Digital, and recently they've started a profile called as Prime. So this is 9 LPA Prime, this is 7 LPA, this is 3.5 LPA, Ninja is 3.5 LPA, and this happens through NQT generally. Also from Code Vita they hire, but TCS NQT, this is the government exam of private sector, I can say that. Fine. Whenever you feel that the competition is rising in the market, a lot of people are unemployed, a lot of stress goes to TCS NQT, a lot of people apply here. They have well-defined procedure, number of rounds, online test, and aptitude here is of paramount importance. Why am I saying so? Because 80% people, the stats say this, 80% people get rejected in the aptitude round of NQT only. Okay. So you need to be very, very thorough with that. And NQT is one of the best opportunities to enter the giant of Indian IT, TCS. And if you score well, if you do good and land up in the multiple interviews you keep on clearing, then you reach this stage Prime, which is 9 LPA. So there is a scope where you can secure a very good package in TCS. Okay. Now, there is also a company called Juspay. This is a Bangalore based startup, 10 to 15 LPA it offers. It generally hires in September. Online test and then interview schedule. I have myself given the interview of this particular company. So there are generally 4 rounds that happen post that HR rounds. Okay, if there are doubts in these 4 rounds, then you can add 1 round, but generally 4 rounds. Generally the interview is confined to 4 rounds. Focus is on DSA, OS, CN, which is CN's fundamental, DBMS, SQL. They are very SQL intensive sometimes. Once it is done, sometimes, rarely, they ask system design. Okay, very rarely they do that, but nowadays they started asking, so I'm telling you. Fine. So this is also a very good company. And then comes Optum. Now do not look at the package component much. Why am I saying so? Optum is one of the rare companies which can set your trajectory right in the initial career. Okay, you can have a lot of learning opportunity here. So do not be very focused on the package portion or the CTC portion. Just think it is a very good company. You have to target it. Fine. So October to November, it generally hires online aptitude and coding round. This happens usually together. And once it is done, then happens a group discussion. They put you in virtual rooms. They try and figure out how you're performing in the group environment. And if you clear this, you have interview schedule where generally you have 2 to 3 rounds and then an HR or the fitment round. Fine. So you need to be very thorough with aptitude, with coding, with problem solving, and your communication skills as well. You need to prepare for it. Fine. So you should be thorough with all this, and then if you're good at DSA, you're good at CS fundamentals, you have some good projects. Now, how do you have good projects? I have specifically rolled out a video of top 5 projects. You can go and see it. And also you can access Prime. What you can do is you just hop on to this platform, Prep Insta Prime. Okay. You just hop on to a platform, I'll show you. Prep Insta Prime. Fine. You hop on to this platform. Here you have end-to-end projects. A lot of, even you have company-wise preparation there, certifications, everything. But a lot of times you will have proper course lists. Fine. See, you have interview experiences, you have pseudocodes, you have DBMS, CS subjects. You have proper projects. See, end-to-end. So you can build all these end-to-end projects. How do you enter here? Basically enroll for the Prime subscription, and for that you can use Shukla 10 code that I showed you. Here you can also find courses on aptitude, etc., and that will help you boost your placement game very smartly. Fine. So it basically has all those group discussion, guesstimate ideas, and they'll tell you how to ace the HR rounds as well. There is interview preparation track on Prime as well, so that can help you. Fine. Now I'll go ahead. Morgan Stanley is another company which can hire you. Fine. After Optum, and 12 to 20 LPA is the general package that is offered in Morgan Stanley. October to December is the hiring period. Online test, generally this has aptitude plus tech MCQs, and then a programming round where you're asked to solve a code, pass the test cases. If you do that, then there is an interview schedule with group activity round. Now the group activity rounds are quite tricky here. They often tell you to build projects with multiple people. They put you in a room, or they'll tell you to discuss something, or they'll give you some task to perform in a group, in a team of 5 or 6 people. Fine. So this is one thing that happens here, and every time they keep on changing so that a person can never ever try and figure out the pattern of group activity. Fine. But in the interview schedule, a lot of times you will get how you're actually performing in DS. A lot of questions would be on OS, DBMS, DSA, normal tech interview rounds. Fine. So 4 to 5 rounds generally. Generally a fixed pattern is 4 rounds for Morgan Stanley. So you can think in these lines. Then last but not least, Cisco. 10 to 22 LPA, a very good company, highly intensive on CN and OS when it comes to CS fundamentals in interviews. DSA is asked, and generally it has online test. It is coding intensive. Once you clear this, you have interview schedule. This lasts 4 to 6 rounds depending upon your caliber, and November to December is a general hiring period for this. Okay, now what you can do is, according to this calendar, frame a few companies, and do not just stick to this calendar, because a lot of companies would be hiring throughout the year. Fine, so they might immediately come up with a new opportunity, right? So what you can do is, you can follow these social media handles, because on them every hiring update would be available to you, number one. Number two, you should also keep on updating your personal calendar that you have made for your targets. Fine, once you do that, just stick to a basic plan where you prepare aptitude, prepare coding, prepare good projects. How do you do that? First, learn a good skill, trending skill. So those top skills you can go ahead and watch on our YouTube channel, where I have specifically covered them. Pick one skill out of them. If you don't know exact resource, hop onto Prime, enroll into the course of that particular skill, and let me tell you, if you enroll in a course of one skill, you're basically getting access of all the courses, all the 200 plus courses. Or if you're somebody who cannot afford, free में भी धूमधाम से तैयारी होती है, फर्क सिर्फ इतना होगा, थोड़ा सा टाइम लगेगा. Don't worry on that, stress out मत करना. A lot of times you have to prepare well, थोड़ा extra hard work करना पड़ेगा, चीजें एक जगह collate करनी पड़ेंगी. Pick from 10 different websites, put it on a single Excel sheet and then start preparing. वो भी हो सकता है. Top 3 comments today are getting Prep Insta Prime for free. So comment करना तो मत भूलो, हो सकता है free में मिल जाए. Fine. So just do one thing. When you make this calendar, if there is some peer of yours, some junior, senior, anybody who needs this information, go ahead, spread it. चाहे मेरा नाम मत बताओ उसे, ठीक है, चाहे तुम अपने लेवल पे बता दो, बट इन्फॉर्मेशन जरूर स्प्रेड करो. Why am I saying it? The reason is, the more you do good for people, universe returns it back to you. Fine. So keep on doing good without any expectation. It will come back to you. That's all for today's video. Have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.